Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I love this. This is the post-lunch graveyard shift. Coming from an agency, this is the one slot that when we are pitching, we are always trying to avoid. But that being said, I just want to start by firstly thanking our wonderful panelists, starting with Anya, Tin, Hip, and Yanis. Thank you so much for making time to for the session today. Hopefully, we'll have a good conversation. So we've got about 30 minutes, and typically how I like to do this is just really start with why, right? Why customer-centricity and experience? It's not something that is new to any one of us. Often you can think of them as buzzwords as well these days, right? But I thought we'll start with just a bit of really emphasis on why are we doing this? Why are we talking about this subject? And then we'll move on to the how. How are these wonderful organizations, global organizations such as Nestle and Heineken and Coca-Cola and even the Eco Group, how are they looking at customer centricity and experience? And then we'll finally hopefully have, in the interest of customer centricity, you as our customers, hopefully we have some interesting takeaways for you as you start to think about customer centricity within your own respective organizations as CEOs as well as CMOs, especially the C-suite. So let's start with this.
Can we just make sure that nobody posts?
No? Yeah, no worries. Well, I think the whole intent over here is, like I said, the why, right? The why behind customer, centricity. Think about the macro context right now. As the theme of this summit is been about challenging times that we are operating in. But juxtaposed against that is the fact that we're in Vietnam, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Certainly within Southeast Asia, it's the second, according to IMF estimates, we're going to be the second fastest growing in ASEAN alone, right? Just right behind the Philippines, 4.8% growth. You heard Warwick mentioned earlier from KPMG as well. And you think about the fact that you're about to reach 100 million in terms of population, so congratulations in advance. And within that 100 million, you think about the fact that you've got, oh wonderful. So this is what we're supposed to start talking about actually, maybe not, right? How do we instruct people with annoying and irrelevant advertising in a more customer-centric way? I love Tom Fishman and Mark Tunis. Right? So this is not what we're going to talk about today, right? But we're going to talk about the fact that you've got about 100 million people in Vietnam. You've got a median age of 32 and a half. About 21.8% of your population in Vietnam is between the age of 10 to 24 years. And when you think about those numbers, and you think about the fact that and in fact it's not just about the youth. When you think about all of us and you think about what we expect from brands today, right? The concept of customer centricity is not new, to be very honest. Actually, it was in 1954 when Drucker introduced the concept of customer centricity, and it became popularized in the 1990s, right? Essentially, we went from being product-centric organizations, we're saying, well, we'll build a product and the customers will come, to, well, ultimately, everything we do within an organization needs to be centered around the customer. The organization exists because of the customer, right? So unless you're customer-centric, we can't be. So when you think about that context and you think about the fact that we're all looking, we as organizations have a responsibility to deliver customer centricity, right? The fact that we're in a customer expectation of economy, right? Where we went from sort of yesterday of personal selling to today personalization and tomorrow to personalized experiences, right? And we know that our customers are looking for creative, authentic, personal experiences with the brands and businesses that they engage with and that they buy from, right? Again, this is something that's not new to any one of us. We also know that brands are needing to transform to catch up right, from establishing a customer experience foundation, right, where you're fundamentally measuring and understanding what current customer needs are and how they're delivered through isolated moments, to customer experience transformation, learning and becoming more personal, right, and valuable to deliver a total customer experience. And last but not least, the customer experience management, right, becoming adaptive organizations that build customer longevity through long-term relationships at scale. So we know that brands are needing to transform to catch up. And there are enough stats out there. These are just some stats from Forbes that adaptive organizations, especially customer-centric organizations, outperform their peers. All of the numbers you can see there in terms of brand awareness, customer retention, customer satisfaction, even in terms of the revenue growth as well. So it makes a lot of sense to be customer-centric. But we know that being customer-centric is complex, it's daunting, and it's intimidating. It's not easy, right? And I'm gonna read to you a quote from someone who I respect. She's a contributor to Harvard Business Review, and she kind of nicely summarized this a couple of years ago, right? Why do many companies struggle to get customer centricity right? The volume, the velocity, and variety of customer data that now exists overwhelms many organizations. Some companies don't have the systems and technology to segment and profile customers. Others lack the processes and operational capabilities to target them with personalized communications and experiences. But the most common and perhaps the greatest barrier to customer centricity is the lack of a customer-centric organizational culture. At most companies, the culture remains product-focused or sales-driven, or customer centricity is considered a priority only for certain functions such as marketing. Does it sound familiar to this panel here? Right? To successfully implement a customer-centric strategy and operating model, a company must have a culture that aligns with them and leaders who deliberately cultivate the necessary mindset and values in their employees. Right? So this is one very wonderfully captures the challenges around customer centricity and actually a very important point on organizational culture. A shameless plug-in here from Dentsu. This is how we look at it in terms of the maturity in 6 foundational areas when we speak with our clients of customer centricity and customer experience management. From having a vision and customer strategy, data enablement, technology orientation, experience activation, analytics and optimization, and last but not least, organization. And this is how the people are and the ways of working and the culture exist in order for true customer centricity to happen. So that's a bit of a context, right? Just a bit of a context in terms of why are we even speaking about this subject. Now let's move over to a wonderful panel of experts over here in terms of how are you looking at customer centricity within your respective organizations and the linkage between customer centricity and experiences, right? So maybe we'll start with Anya. If you'd like to share a little bit about how do you look at that within the context of Heineken?
Hello guys. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Hello everyone. So when I look at the topic of customer centricity, I think it would be crazy if I would try to explain why customer centricity matters, yes? Because I really believe we all can say about ourselves we are customer-centric organizations or customer-centric marketing. And coming from Heineken, imagine it's a global organization, we have a lot of data. We have super talented data analysts. We have global, regional, local data. But my 25 years experience in beer showed me that nothing matters more than the organization and the culture. So I fully agree with your quote. And I wanted to give you one example because I was thinking, what can be the value added? I think the example can be when it comes to the innovations. We all want to innovate, yes? You analyze thousands of data and trends, but innovation is about imagination. So how do you expect consumer will tell you what to do for the future? It will not. Yes, you can observe more developed countries. So where is my learning? The most successful innovations of Heineken globally were not born from data, were born from the culture of observation. So in many countries, and I know it's fun to drink beer, but for example, we have additional allowances on the top of your salary, which everyone in market would get to go to the night visits, which means that you spend time in the on-trade and you observe. Because this is, I think, where you can understand what is happening in the culture and how I can convert it into innovation. Now going to the facts. I think one of the biggest innovations in, let's say, Europe years ago was flavored beer. Beer with some flavorings. It is born from the fact that in many countries, people started to add nectar juice to the beer because they wanted to break the bitterness. And then someone commercialized it in the scale. When you look at Vietnam, our most successful brands in the last year, the fastest growth is Tiger Crystal, Heineken Silver. Born from observing that in Vietnam everyone put ice to beer, yes, especially in the south of Vietnam, because you want to have lower bitterness, lower fat. And the latest innovation we just brought to the market, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, called Tiger Soju, fully born from observing that in the gastrobars, the young people, what they do so-called somas. So these are the shot of soju going to Tiger Crystal. And that allows you then to start to understand. So we, even as a management team, or Heineken owners, the Heineken family, I don't know how much time we spent in gastrobars with the 18-24 years consumers there to learn from this. So if I could share one thing about the customer centricity from my side, I truly believe data is one thing, but I think the human observation and building on it is the strongest way to build innovations, to be customer centric.
Wonderful. It's interesting you mentioned that because when you think about data, often all of us think of data, obviously the troves of data that we're able to collect in the field as a result of obviously digital. But in a way, observation is data, right? It's one of the oldest forms of data and it's an incredibly powerful form of data. So data doesn't need to be always all the thousands of impressions and clicks and everything that you gather, but just observing customers. And you mentioned another very important point, which is imagination. After you observe, the process of creativity and imagination. Wonderful, thank you. Ken, if I can go on to you, how are you looking at things that, in terms of customer centricity and experience within the Coke world?
I think I would start with experience. And the first pillar you said of their vision, business strategy. I think today we have a lot of topics about data and the implication of data, and also software. We have new toys every day. The new term is AI. Everyone is about AI. So all the tools, all the new toys that the engineers throw to us are just amazing things. But I hope we look at it from the most fundamental thing. What is the vision? How do you design that experience? So an experience as Coke, we at the Coca-Cola company, we define it as a purposeful interaction between a brand and its consumers. And that interaction is set in the relevant physical and emotional spaces where the brand, the customers, and the occasion all come together to create the very long-lasting and deep memories. And those memories trigger action. So we want to bring back the memories all the time. And that is not done in one successful campaign. It's done through all the lifetime of all the CMOs. Started with some very famous CMO sitting in the audience with food, One thing that we are very proud of is basically the association with food that Coca-Cola is associated with. Because it all started with is one of the most tasty products. And it's tastier when it goes with food, basically. And Coke and food give you a happy time. A happy time with the people sitting at the table, with your friends, your family, or with yourself. And that triggered a bonding between yourself, with your family, and that is memory. And that memory is cascaded, executed throughout the years. In the past 10 years, we have the Vietnamese cooking platform. And then COVID hit us. We could not have the offline events anymore, but it wasn't an excuse for any disruption. We did Vietnamese cooking online. And then after online, we come back, we figure out a way to do it online, and then we do it offline. So that experience has been transferred throughout the years, consistently through that and through daily activation, through our partners, the chains of the food. And it's activated 52 weeks a year. So that's how we consistently build the experience what people have with food. We try one design behavior that we want to. So I just want to say the first period.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for validating. That's one. And it's really about the point you made, and I'll share a story if we have some time around memorable experiences, right? That leave a lasting impression on us as humans, and why therefore then that creates brand love and affinity. But that's a really, really good point, and it's really about that consistency also that really matters, right? The repetition of doing this over and over again, so it leaves that imprint on your mind. If I go over to something that's more sort of within a Vietnam context of the eco group, if you would care to share how you're looking at it from it's a very different business, right? You're in the business of healthcare, right, and wellness. So how do you look at that from I guess customer centricity, and how you are looking at the ecosystem, I guess, of partners to deliver that centricity?
I think in the last MMA, already shared quite a lot of consumer-centricity from the industry. But this is, I just would like to share on two things that is Vietnamese, to somebody who is Vietnamese here, working for a Vietnamese company in this town. And the second one is on experience. So we know that 86% of the people out there are willing to pay more for a better experience. And I'm working for a healthcare ecosystem, a Vietnamese company that is taking care of Vietnamese life. We have the pharma product that is making people's quality of life better. We have vaccine centers, the VNVC, that is protecting people from disease. And then we have the system of general hospitals that is designed to save lives. So that is the reason why, in terms of experience, we embrace an empathetic culture. And I think we think that from the Vietnamese point of view, empathetic is something that is stronger than any kind of even technology. It's something that it is drive the progress, and it is something that is so Vietnamese as well. In our Vietnamese language, we don't think by the brain, we think by the belly. We have good people, that is the good people, good belly, or the bad belly people. And it is all about, the emotional transcend of empathy. So we try to have the whole empathy as a guiding light of our experience management to our service. It is like 66 forces. The first two forces are very basic and hygiene. That it is to have a fair treatment to the people, making them feel that they have a fair exchange in our relationship. The second one is the second one is very much a certainty. That they make sure that okay, things are clear and transparent and looking as expected. And you go to the vaccine center and buy a good supplement. Then the next two factors is very much in terms of value add and building relationship with them. That it is very much control. That making people feel that they are, like they're in the driving seat, they can control the stuff, they can control the experience with us. And the fourth thing that is very important is status, because Vietnamese we are very status conscious. So it is very much make sure that they are valued and worthy of special treatment with our ecosystem. The last two forces is very much on making our bonding more meaningful and making us really different to the other service providers. Is very much the belonging, caring about a sense of belonging, that we always care for a better, a greater good. And then the last one is employment, that it is making their life easier so that they can have a total freedom. So based on that, those are our principles of how we adopt a very Vietnamese empathetic culture to make our service, make our product much better and more meaningful for people's life.
Beautiful.
That is our take on the experience.
Wonderful. Really appreciate you sharing that. I think, especially in your business, customer empathy has a whole new meaning, right? And when you talk about certainty, especially when you're talking about people's lives, sort of frankly life and death moments as well. Customer-centricity that takes a whole new level.
Yeah, that's everything.
And moving over to Nestle, right? Nestle, you could share a little bit more about, I guess in our side conversations, we're talking about two sort of very different sets of audiences and how you're applying customer centricity in your various product lines. If you could share with the audience as well in terms of how you're looking at that at Nestle, right?
Yes, thank you for this. I think, first of all, I have to say that, for me it's quite weird that we're talking about customer centricity, because marketing by design is customer centric. It should be customer centric. Marketing is the art of trying to answer the needs of the consumer or the customer. So, but I understand why it's gaining a new momentum and a new traction to talk about customer centricity, because now we move from what we heard earlier today, also from the manufacturer's point of view, from the broadcast perspective of, okay, I produce a product at scale in a huge factory and just push it to people. We move more to the interactive way, the two-way communication, having the communication element. But also, technology, data, and AI soon are enabling us to have personalized relationship and engagement with the consumers. And when you bring personalization, a product at scale, it's not interesting anymore. So you have to wrap it with something more meaningful. And this is where I think the service ecosystem that we hear a lot about services is bringing some extra layer of benefit experience for the consumer. And an example that we have from my company, Nestle, is on the quite interesting example, I think, is what we've been doing with the healthcare industry. And we have moved from the pet food to the pet care, so going to a much broader service ecosystem, embracing also services for consumers like adoption, how you can find your pet before you decide it, or naming and so on. And ultimately, all this ecosystem translates also personalized products for the pets. And we have this platform in UK called tails.com that you can insert specific data about your pet in terms of physical activity, the size of the pet, special cat photos that you might have and so on. And you can build your own nutritional plan for your pet, which translates to personalized product. So actually, the factory can prepare a recipe specific for your pet and send this to you. I think this is a quite interesting example of how we can enrich, say, the product experience and the brand experience with this service ecosystem to make it much more impactful and much more meaningful for the consumer.
Wonderful. And you mentioned about the service layer, actually. And in many ways, product companies are now very much becoming, in many ways, also service companies. Right? The service layer makes such a incredible difference as you think about customer centricity and build, genuine and meaningful customer experiences. This is a wonderful example of how you create a personalized product and a brand experience, through the service layer.
If I might add,
yes.
You have to make this. You have to make sure that this is really answering consumer need, and you're really offering a service. I think over-engineering this customer centricity can lead to some really bad decisions sometimes. An example that comes into mind from the auto industry recently, the big debate that was created between consumers and car manufacturers about services that the cars have already built in when you buy the product, and then you're asked to pay till you engage the service, activate the service that you already have in the car. So I think that it's a bit of a slippery slope in trying to answer the needs and provide services to cross a threshold that it's becoming harmful or even damaging to the reputation, to the sales as well.
Great point. And this is where in the world of, I guess, disruptive innovation, we tend to look at this from a perspective of underserved and overserved needs, right? What you just described as an example of an overserved need, and that gives birth to companies who actually look at, whole new companies that look at overserved needs and create new business models on the back of such overserved needs. So you're absolutely right. We have a good number of questions here, actually. And I look at the ones that I guess most voted, right? How do you manage the data you collect to get more understanding of local consumers? Who would like to take this question? Can I? Anya?
Yeah, I think, guys, in many organizations we have so many data which we don't utilize yet. So the number of reports, data, observations, everything together, do we really sweat what we have? I don't think so. And I think that the biggest difficulty is integration of all of this data and giving really different perspectives. What helped us a lot, we have like a kind of data hub at the center where of course we try to integrate it. Data analysts are, when I came here 4 years ago, some existing job. I think we have maybe 20, 25 of them today in Heineken. Data scientists, data analysts. So that is, I think, the capability we built to be able to really analyze as well. But in the end, what I think works the best, you have some observation based on your data. Make a small pilot, I don't know, 100 outlets or whatever. Because then when you learn the reality, I think all the insights, all the data we have, there are still very open declarations. And we know that owning the brand like Heineken, which is a global brand, in the culture of Vietnam, if you test whatever with them, any commercial is fantastic, because it's Heineken brand. In the end, a lot of these commercials are not resonating. So I think you really need to use the real human touch to understand that kind of things. I will be supporting this one, and not because I'm Gen X, sorry, but because I really believe it's the right thing to do.
Wonderful, thank you.
I just want to add to I think I love what you said. It's not about we're not lack of data, but we have the a surplus of data. What can we do with that? And the integration of all the data points to drive something to serve the consumers and to serve the brand, and to bring these two things together at the same occasion. So I think that's going to be a very, very important point. And to your point, I think observing is the most valuable thing. Because before we can say what we want, we do it first. So that is, to me, the biggest point about it is that how to observe behavior and how to observe data. For example, if you have a campaign and then you track on Google, you see what kind of keyword search. Are they talking about your campaign? Are they talking about something that they keep looking, or your campaign trigger what they search for? Then that is one of the observations done on the data environment.
Wonderful. And I completely agree with you about the surplus of data. I think there's a difference between customer obsession and data obsession. Data is a means to an end, and data is then meant to lead to insights. And it's how do you integrate all that data to generate meaningful insights that are relevant to your customers, right? So could not agree with you more on that as well. So the 3 minutes left, so now it's probably 2 minutes left. Maybe time for one last question. What changed in customer-centric marketing in this modern marketing world with lots of new technology and data-driven tools? Can you give a real example? Anyone like to take that?
I would have tried to take that, maybe not with a real example, but with similar. I think, until now we had three major barriers for someone to commercialize a service or a product. One was the production barrier, so you needed to have a big factory to produce something. One was the sales barrier, where you were going to list the product, so you needed to convince the retailer to list the product and get access to consumers and shoppers. And the third one was a communication barrier, so you had to have a big budget, go on TV, to have a huge campaign for people to know you so on. And technology has eliminated all those two barriers. Now you can produce a product or a service in the garage of your own house. You can advertise it, you can build the awareness through very easy and efficient social media campaigns. And you don't need to have like a supermarket for the product there, because you can sell it on a marketplace platform, you can sell it on a website and so on. So I think that the technology is really releasing all the creative and commercial power that people can generate. And this, I think, is really why we're talking about fourth industrial revolution behind internet, e-commerce, and so on.
Well,
Also, there's something never changed. Never changed. It's the power of the insight that is supercharged attention. Never changed. The power of creativity never changed.
well,
We launched globally one thing, which is the AI. We open that tool to the consumer to design the advertising they want for the brand. So through that, we saw the advertisements created by the consumers. And from that, we know what they want and how they think about our brand. So if you talk about what changed, I think Hope globally is one of the first companies using AI, like ChatGPT, AI as a tool to understand what people really think about the brand, what people really want. So that's a real example, I would say. It's not in Vietnam yet.
brilliant. Wow, some really good insights. I know our time is up. I think there's a great breakout session as well on customer centricity as well later on. But I want to say a big thank you once again to our panelists. Thank you so much for this wonderful insights for our audience, and thank you all for listening as well. Thank you.